Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Sorry for this slight delay as always, but yeah, you should know by now. And things are there. Welcome everyone, nice to see you people. And today we will watch, what is it called? The Thing. Episode 7 of The Rings of Power, that was the name of it. What is this music? It's making me nervous. Where's your budget to hire Bear McCreary? Well, I don't have the budget, sadly, to hire Bear McCreary, unfortunately. I got here, the timer hit 0, but before Chris started, a winner is me. Welcome. Nice to see you. Still a winner. But yeah, and I thought it's maybe not bad to have some weird music going on during the timer is running. Sometimes I forget I always have music on when the timer is running, and it's music from the YouTube audio library. As a result, it does not get me into trouble when I use it. Also, as always, I could offer my fantastic thing here. Maybe I move it a bit here, so I don't know, people see when I'm talking, something like that. Probably not bad. Yeah, it's the YouTube sound library, and it's, of course, it can be used on YouTube without getting your videos claimed. That's a good thing. And yeah, I dig the music, okay. Awesome. Kraftwerk? No. Let's not go into this direction. But yeah, today we watched the episode, right? I show you the timer as always. Let me just set up the timer really fast in the background. Always surprised that people come here and watch this with me, but well, I won't complain, right? Oh, I have to make it visible, right? So the plan is the following. I show you this timer here. Questions, where do I put it? Wait, I have an idea. How about we try out this? I need it to make it a bit lower, like this. No, not bad. I'm bowling out, no problem. Well, I will talk over it anyway, and after it we might discuss it, I don't know. I'm not watching, I'm just here to my lovely voice. Well, I see this as a compliment, but very nice that people are still here wanting to watch that. Episode 7 is like, I think, an episode that was received quite mixed, I have to admit, though I found it not that bad, but also probably won't be my favorite episode as well. Was, again, in my opinion, somewhat solid episode, though it continues the problem of the show, I don't know, not getting anywhere, I guess. When you be turned into a child soldier, well, kind of true, I guess, but not necessarily weird. Can you open an Amazon Watch Party? Would make it a bit easier to join. Yeah, there is a weird feature. Like, usually I would do this on Twitch, but users decided it was a 7 point. Well, it was episode 7, so it makes sense that it's a 7 out of 10, right? But no, I could do this, though I have to admit I would have to look into that. I mean, that's a pretty interesting idea, but I'm not 100% sure how it works. I've not tried. On Twitch, there's a feature for it. That's why I wanted to do these watch parties on Twitch instead, on YouTube. But yeah, otherwise, you also will have the timer. I will start from the beginning. We won't skip anything, so the timer should be somewhat correct. Oh, there's the chat room. Not sure this works. I mean, you might be right. Could try to create this. Can I stop it then? Not sure how this stuff works. Chat. I'm not sure if this works because I watch it obviously over the German Twitch TV thing. Like, I don't mind. I would prefer this chat here on YouTube, so we don't exclude anyone. Should maybe be a bit better. And then I just have to post the link, I assume, right? Yeah, but I won't pause anyway. I'm just wondering how this works. Like if I'm the person controlling this, like I've not checked this feature here out. Let me just double check that is correct. That is set up correct. Well, we could try. Very interesting to see this feature. So happy I caught this. Yeah, welcome, Tiaza. Nice to see you. I feel like they did a lot of practical effects, so it was not too surprising, but it seems, yeah, really that were mostly practical effects we were seeing. I mean, visually, there are very little complaints about the show. It's mostly about the writing, I feel. So, I'm not sure if you can join this from an US account as well. Like, don't ask me. But I could, like in theory, I can post this in chat, but I have to time it anyway, so wait a moment till everything is set up accordingly. So I get weirdly pinged today for unknown reasons, which is really strange. Really strange. I can't wait until regular. On a serious but less related note, when do we ask lore questions again? I'm a little lazy. I don't remember if Guma had dinner with. Well, in theory, you can ask lore questions anytime. Though when we do the watch party, of course, I would prefer if we would talk about show-related stuff for the time being, simply because otherwise it becomes too distracting if I just have to explain something that has absolutely nothing to do. So maybe, like, we will be together for a moment after we watched episode 7 together, so then it's for sure plenty of time to watch a bit of the stuff here. To ask questions and so on. Yeah, I'm very curious if they explain stuff next episode. I'm pretty sure we will see Sauron next episode. And currently I'm also completely on board with the Halbrand is Sauron theory. I don't like this theory, but I think that is where they will be going for, and I think it will be revealed next episode. I said this multiple times by now. So yeah, there was also another thing. Me too, Chris. Yeah, I think it's not a unusual opinion to have right now. Yeah, also in regards to Rafael, Gustavo, thank you for your kind words. Unfortunately, your post got purged by Nightbot, or by Steam, no, by Cloudbot, I think. Because you missed, like, it's always the same. If you write a message in chat and you miss one space after a dot, the bot thinks you posted a link and purged you. I don't know why it's so aggressive here. Maybe I have to use Nightbot for this in future. It's maybe less aggressive. I'm not sure. But it was always a problem with the link purging functionality of these bots. I think it's of course possible that it will be somebody completely new, but there are multiple reasons why I think it would be smart that it's Halbrand. I know smart is maybe too big of a word here, but some reasons why I think it makes most sense. Because, like, the show has, if you think about the show, besides Adar, who is also in a very grayish position, I feel like there is no antagonist in the show so far. Like, we only have maybe now the cultists, but they are not very strongly present so far. Adar is also just present here and there, if that makes sense. And the show desperately needs like an antagonist. And so it would be smart if we have already seen the antagonist of the show, which, of course, for the Second Age and Third Age, the big antagonist is Sauron and his servants. And so far we have seen little of that. So they need to, it would make sense for season 1 if the big reveal is the antagonist was all the time there. He was, we just didn't know it was him. And of course, as we know Sauron, we know he can, in theory, take different shapes and forms. It was indicated in multiple things. So, it's very likely that this might be the reveal. Also, if you think about it, like, it is very difficult, in my opinion, pretty much impossible, for everyone who has seen Lord of the Rings, which are a lot of people, to create the Anatar story and make it a surprise. Like, as soon as an ambassador from the West appears in the show and is talking to Celebrimbor about rings, and hey, Celebrimbor, what about forging some of those rings? In this moment, everybody knows who he is. Like, keeping it a secret and making a big twist out of it is nearly impossible in this way. So I feel a way they could do it is like they've done it in the show. Make a character that is absolutely, I don't know, kind of out of reach, maybe kind of suspicious as well, like Halbrand is, and reveal it maybe in the last episode or so, where he comes to maybe the Elvish realms and is talking about rings. Maybe not, or has some interesting ideas for Celebrimbor. Maybe bring some gifts, who knows. And that, in my opinion, feels like, I don't know. It feels like that is the way they are going here. Like, it's just too convenient that we have a character who knows smithing, and we know he is now going to the Elvish realms, and potentially to Eregion. So I feel like that's what they're going. In addition, how his character thinks, like he says, no, if you want to convince somebody or want to defeat your enemy, you have to give your enemy something to master its problem, and then you can master him. And that's basically playbook Sauron, what he does. He says, hey elves, you need these rings because else you will die. And he gives them so they can master their problem with it. He gives them the idea for it, and then he uses this concept to master the elves themselves. That's playbook Sauron in a way. And he already said it in the show, so I feel like it really might be him. There might have been a time where he was like not full on the evil side already, and maybe a bit what do you call it? Not sure if that is a way. What is the word? repent or something like that, right? Like if you know what I mean? It's definitely possible that it's not Heilbronn for sure, but currently I'm very sure, like 90% sure that's where the show is going. But I might be wrong. I'm just pretty sure. House of Dragons delivers the same thrills delivered with elements my people much prefer. Yeah, I can see like somebody just also wrote. It was also Priscilla TV. And somebody just wrote. I don't know. I heard a lot of good things about the House of the Dragon show, which I have no idea what's going on there, so can't tell you. But I just heard there's a lot of good stuff. Repentant. Okay. The word. Who are those people? Nobody thinks. I think there are definitely a few people who like the Rings of Powers. I think not. It's very controversial discussed, but for controversy, you also need people who like it and people who dislike it, else it's not controversial and universally disliked. That's my opinion. I think that's not the case with this show. I think some people really like it. I mean, it's also, I don't know. It's the Rings of Power show is just strange. It does some good stuff, got some bad stuff. It's weird. I dislike it. I thought as much. It's too off target. Yeah, it's just many weird decisions. Okay, chat. Maybe we use the opportunity because a thing before we start I wanted also to do. Sadly, I had not much prep time for this, but I assume we are a very small amount of people here anyway. So I don't know if we have anybody. Is there anybody in chat who uses an Xbox? By chance. And plays and likes playing games on it. And for whatever reason, well, I think it doesn't matter to be honest, but oh, Lynn is also there. Just very curious about this, and maybe has a need for an Xbox Game Pass code. Because currently, yeah, I don't know. I had a generous user offering me a code for that because he doesn't need it. User, and if there are a few people, I would just raffle it in chat. If not, yeah, I don't know. Then not. I potentially feel we might be out of luck. Would stay. Oh, it also works on PC. That's good. I thought it would be maybe a different thing because they split it up at some point. Anyway, it was supposed to be maybe raffled or something. So I don't know. It would be, of course, awesome if only people, if there's some need here on by the people watching here or something. It's pretty cool. You don't simply walk onto an Xbox. Exactly. I mean, there was a time where it was called Play Anywhere or something. But yeah, the question is anyone in chat who wants the code? That's basically the biggest question. We could maybe make a lore question, and people who want it have to answer it or something. And the problem with lore questions is one could make a question that's so difficult to answer that only very few find the answer in time. Or it could make it very easy. But when it's too easy, I could also just raffle it. You know what I mean? Is it a code for nuclear bombs? I hope not. World is enough in trouble already. We don't need nuclear bombs. Yeah, I agree with Tyr that like with Galadriel they waste a lot of time in the first few episodes. Yeah, we could also make it like that. I wouldn't make a separate video though. The question is, my CloudBot has a raffle functionality, so people could write !! raffle in chat, and then I can say select a user, and then I contact him or me, and so on and so forth. But maybe we'll make it in the comment section or something like that. It's relatively early in the video. Or I make it in the or maybe I raffle it in the comment section of the maybe roundtable or something like that. I also have like another video maybe planned. Maybe we do it like this. So far, it seems like the need is relatively small. Though I would have liked to try out the raffle feature, to be honest. We just go ahead and somebody cries for the code. And we just was curious if there is enough interest in chat for maybe somebody says I would take it or something like this. Roundtable would be good. Yeah, probably try it like this. But I have to admit, I'm not sure if I get a roundtable together this week, but we will see on Thursday if I succeed. But well, there will be at least, if it's not a roundtable, then we can do it maybe the next couple of days. But okay, I would say somebody suggested I should. Is this a code? Yeah. So somebody suggested I should post the watch party thing here. So I created a watch party on Amazon. So you could join that. And I'm not sure how it works exactly, to be honest. Like, literally no idea. But yeah, in theory, people could join this. I will also have the timer on screen, and I won't skip the what happened last episode part, and also not the credits, so that the timer is perfectly synced with the episode, if that makes sense. So I hope this code thing works. The problem with the watch party thing could be that it might be a national thing. So maybe only people from Europe or Germany or whatever can join the watch party. I don't know. I've never tried this feature, but it's kind of interesting. Let's go. I still would suggest that people watch it over the chat. Matt Cole, thank you, much appreciated. Also, thank you for your support. Glad you like it here. So very curious. So I hope people are somewhat ready. As said, I posted the Amazon Watch Party link in chat. Maybe I should make a bot command for it. Probably smart. Add command. Let's say exclamation mark watch party, something like that. It's not done yet. 10 user cooldown. Let's make it. That's probably okay. Let's hope it works. And yeah, then we try this out this time. So people can join here from the... Okay, it also works from the United States. I just listened. I just noticed. The bot is also working awesome. So if people want to join over that, I have no idea how this exactly will work. But I assume I just press the play button and then it starts for everyone. Wow. I always wondered, what is this name? This is kind of strange. But yeah, be careful with your real name stuff. It also works from Spain. Okay, awesome. Oh, it's in the stuff that is written is in German for you. That is interesting. Seems to be working from the United Kingdom as well. Okay, that seems pretty convincing then. Let me just get my timer stuff set up. How do I do this usually? I think I do it like this. Press the timer first, then I press on play. I count down from 3, then we start watching episode number 7 of season 1 of The Rings of Power, in case people wonder. If you're watching from the far future, well, good times when the show came out, I guess. And of course, yeah, I would say, I always set up chat. Is there a vote I need to do? Oh, it's all English for you? That's interesting. But I would still suggest you, like, I have the chat open and the other thing as well, but I would like if you if people chat over if possible, over the YouTube chat thing, because so everybody knows what is going on. But yeah, I hope we are kind of ready with the fantastic stream. Okay, Mark, thank you for joining for a moment. Have a good, fantastic rest of the day. And I would argue, okay, hello everyone, JP is also here. We just, like for the new people, we tried this time the Amazon Watch Party feature, so people can join there as well. And I don't know how it works, we will see. People can report in chat. Ready to go? Okay, awesome. I will count down a moment from 3 and then we I hit the play button. The timer will also be here on the stream screen thing. That should work. Yeah, of course you can also pop out the YouTube chat, that is true. I have it on my second screen. And yeah, hope it will work. Of course, we will talk about this whole thing. Well, at times, some decisions are definitely beigetreten. Okay, awesome. It seems kind of works for people. So I would say if everybody's ready, I count down from 3. 3, 2, 1, go. I also hope I started the right episode, to be honest. It seems to be the right episode. So we currently see the what happened before stuff. You should be able to switch the language. Also the subtitles, you should be able to switch. If you scroll up, there should be a little speaking bubble, whatever the correct term is, that you can change. Should be able to change language and thing, at least on PC. If you wanted, people just wrote in the other chat that they see it in German. But now they have time in the credits which just started. And I hope you can change the audio. But when I press start, it started for you people as well, right? How to get my popcorn. It's even more horrible in German. Maybe. They don't use accents in German, though. So everyone speaks standard German there. Which is very common for German localization. We talked about this in the past. I also talked about with Red Book last time. And he says that he's from Scotland, and so when people have a Scottish accent, he of course hears if it's fake or not. Started smoothly, easy peasy. You can also post funny pictures in this chat. People, don't distract me too much. So yeah, and we see Galadriel waking up covered in ash or ashes. Reminds me a bit of Dark Souls again, of course. After the volcano exploded. We saw this particular stuff here also already in the trailer, and we speculated this might be a flashback to the to the Dagor Bragolach. Bragolach. I think the stress is before the L and the O. But yeah, this seems to be made with practical effects, which is pretty impressive, I have to admit. Here we have the burning horse. I was thinking, is a burning horse like a thing? Yeah, but coming back to the accent stuff, of course, like there are accents in German, for example, that sound, or dialects that sound very funny for other Germans. Like if I just imagine, I don't know, the Harfords would speak Saxon, I would lose it when they were talking. Like I couldn't take the show serious, I think. Nothing against Saxons though, but it would definitely be, because it's so, you are not used to hear this in German localization. I asked myself if it's similar for English-speaking people. Probably. Also, it feels a bit like the village is keep growing. Like she's looking and nobody is around. But in my opinion, the village consists out of 8 buildings. It's kind of strange that they don't see anybody there. Pretty strange. I'm not sure if Irish sounds funny for English speakers. I can't tell this. How about Swiss German? Swiss German is very interesting, I have to admit. I wouldn't say it sounds funny, it sounds cute at times. Maybe cute is the wrong word for it, but you know what I mean? I like this, Jeremy. You can show this in... You can should be able to change the language. Now here we see it said Ontamo. Very unfortunate. Er ist tot. Yeah, that would be the German line. But isn't it kind of strange that in this very small village, like, they are maybe, I don't know, 50 meters away from Galadriel and they don't see each other? It seems kind of a bit strange. No, Aris Aurelian is here. Welcome. In case you also want to join over the watch party feature of Amazon, which we this time tried out, which was a pretty good idea. Shoutouts to whoever suggested that. Here would be the link. Else you can, of course, sync up with the time code as well. Currently here we see Miriel gets blinded, I think. Like, she also screams. Some sparks are going to her eyes, and then it seems she doesn't see. Isildur is buried, and she also holds her eyes now. So it's transported. And this cut is pretty interesting, from fire to terrible to Poppy singing and water. I really like that cut. I don't see the guard argument, if I'm completely honest. Like, maybe they were busy somewhere else. I don't know. You know, I like that Miriel gets her hands dirty. I would say that the show so far isn't completely terrible, but it's more a mixed bag. Some stuff is good, some stuff is bad, and neutralize each other. So we'll end somewhere in the middle. I often say that like this. There's potential. It's interesting. It says mountains. There's only one mountain, to be honest, in the south, but maybe they don't know for sure. Now, this is an interesting line. It only wakes when new evil is rising. You can't change. Oh, no, it can change. But yeah, as said, I would still prefer if people use the YouTube chat, though I see both chats, but as said, possible. I like how Poppy intervenes here. Seems like Nori is a bit still shook by it. It feels. I understand the scene a bit like that Nori feels. I don't know. She's a bit scared. She knows, okay, the stranger guy, maybe he's a nice guy, but he can also hurt people. And it can be really scary. Translation for the stuff I have in my review, in case people are curious. Lotina means something like bee flower. Maybe it means bloom. Vienna means awaken or to awakening or life. And Vinyata means heal. Akuita, live. Imperative. No, Dilly, don't walk forward. Now her sister almost gets killed by this branch. It can be really scary, like if a branch comes down at you. I like how the stranger is kind of though this time I have to admit it's the fault of the hobbits. Silly dilly, yeah, that's Nori is Sauron. You might be onto something. But yeah, I'm currently more on the side of Halbrand. It's also a pretty cool scene. Like Elrond really shows I'm better in German. I can see that, I guess. But for me, as a not native speaker, I don't mind. Also, Elrond really hits his, in my opinion, his diplomacy checks here. So, pretty impressive. I really like this scene. Yeah, it's true. The height difference is always very impressive here. Interesting that this leaf is still around. Like it fell around down in the first episode, I think. Yeah, at the end of the first episode, and now we have still to deal with it. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's just very interesting, this scene. I'm going kind of silent because I just want to listen to it again. But yeah, it's kind of a strange situation. In a way, you could say, but King Durin is right. On the other side, you could say, in a way, he's not right. And I find this very interesting. No, I don't think she's evil. She's just angry because she sees Elrond is her friend and asks the dwarves for help, and because of reasons, the dwarves won't, or the dwarf king won't help him, while everybody else is basically on the side. Maybe we should listen to the proposal of the elves. I agree, though, it's a good argument that that he doesn't want dwarves to die, but there might be more in a way to it, and it's interesting to see this conflict here. I wouldn't say that committing treason against your king is always evil. When your king is wrong, then it's not evil to commit treason. And she believes her king is wrong. In my opinion, the king is wrong, because when the elves are not there, who is to fight against Sauron and his forces when he comes? We know Sauron will try to conquer Middle-earth in the Second Age, and he is just so close that it is not working. Without the elves, there isn't much force or not much resistance against him and his armies. And the elves alone are not enough, but he's definitely needed for that, so I don't think his proposal is wise. The leave is Sauron. Yeah, here we see Mount Doom again. Also some orcs walking around. And here, this scene, I like it in a way because Galadriel is basically now the voice of reason, and Theo has to be. He was basically Galadriel before this, and Galadriel is now Elrond, basically. It says Elrond to Galadriel as well. I mean, Theo has the right to be angry. Like his home just got destroyed, his friends got killed. But who are we to decide if it's just not much to begin with? It's still their home. I mean, it's a lot of fog there, so they can get separated, I feel. Galadriel is walking to the Morgul Vale. Kind of strange that it takes her so much longer if she goes directly in this direction compared to the others, except she has lost the way or the path where to go as well. Kind of strange, but this is also a pretty cool scene that she says, no, it's not good. Dark's hard to call the dark deeds good. I think, come on, JP, stop nitpicking so much. It should not be orange here. There's a volcano, there's fire. I don't know why it's orange. Maybe some fires around. Who knows? It's an artistic decision, it's not a realistic depiction. There should also not be dragons flying. There shouldn't be dwarves living inside, I don't know, a mountain. There shouldn't be, I don't know, elves that are immortal. Many things should not be there. It's an adaptation. It's just strange criticism, I have to say. I can get that people criticize the bad writing, but come on. You can overdo it. They don't have to use a cheap camera further. They could also do this in post-production. They could even use, I don't know, the white balance. Yeah, I had a bad feeling for a moment. For eyes. There's an interesting little detail that she almost hits this thing. I guess a very classical way to color specific scenes in a way. You even see this in silent films and stuff. You watch, I don't know, stuff like the cabinet of Dr. Caligari and stuff like this. You also see they colored, even though it was black and white mostly, but they colored the footage in a specific way. Very, very traditional element. I wouldn't criticize that. Dwarves are real. Maybe. What about fiery demons living in mountains, or people touching torches, absorbing the fire and shooting it to other places? Like, come on. I have to admit, I really like the camera work in Rings of Power. It's not a volcano, it's a transformation of the Southlands into basically hell, into the underworld. We're in a mythological world here. Isildur got buried by the collapsing house. He could be dead, maybe they changed the story completely. But, it's kind of interesting to see. Like, what they make with Isildur. I assume Bedek was sent later, spoiler, in the show he was let free, and I assume we get this Aragorn Brego moment with him. Maybe he's found by the orcs, maybe he escaped by himself, maybe wounded or so, we don't know. Here we also see the little flower, and I like that Sadok doesn't turn around in this scene. Like, he walks away from the little flower, and there's a classic trope that something happens while a person is waiting for something. It does not happen. He turns around and moves away, and then he suddenly turns around, and then it happens. This was not shown here, which I kind of like that they broke with this little trope. Though often they use the classic tropes. But yeah, somebody wrote in the other chat that it sounds terrible in German, but I know some people who don't like the German localization. But I guess if you don't understand it, it's not incompetently made. Yeah, I would also agree. Like that Isildur is dead. Like it is very early in the episode still, so it would be strange if they. It's very like it was very unspectacular how Isildur was taken out, and it was very early in the episode. I feel like we might see him again. For Celeborn, I have the theory. Like let's assume he's really dead. Maybe they sent him back from Valinor, like Lord Findel, and he takes basically the Glorfindel role or something like that. Could imagine that. Or he's imprisoned. It was not lava flow, it was like burning rock pieces that were during the explosion thrown many, many miles through the air and landed in this what is it called? The Grove. We see now the moon being covered. Like the moon is a very like something we see a lot in the show, I feel. Especially in context with the Stranger and the Hobbits. That's a really big surprise. So there's a Luthien and Beren reference. I think. You wouldn't. But I could imagine that he lives in some. I mean, in theory, he could be re-embodied, but I'm not sure if they go with this. But yeah, she says he went to war and she never saw him again. It doesn't mean that he's necessarily dead. I mean, he could be, but he probably won't be sent back to Middle Earth. I feel like the death of her husband would be too strong a topic to not show it in the show. Like, why go with her brother when they could have went with her husband? I feel like from a writing perspective, that makes no sense. Maybe the stranger is Kilibo, but he has not the ears for it. You don't get us in trouble. I mean, you have to consider that Beleriand was sunk into the ocean. If her husband was in Beleriand and never returned, especially 1,000 years after the war, I think she really assumes he's dead. And the question is, what would be like what I don't understand, and I actually hope that we would see Celeborn in the show at some point. It's really strange. Why would he not appear? Makes no sense. Like, if this show is like 1,000 years into the Second Age, he's missing for over 1,000 years then. How does this happen? No, I don't think so. that there will be much romance between them. They have very little time next episode to go for that. They have to explain the Strangers arc still. And they have to reveal Sauron. Which is Halbrand, of course, as I assume. I don't know it, but I'm pretty sure. I really wonder what is with Celeborn. This we suggested. Oh no, the bots are here. But I also hope they don't go for romantic. Yeah, and I also like the Durin, though I still don't like that they both are Durin. Now here we see the roots of the tree got struck by lightning. And here we hear the whispering again. King Durin's not happy. I can understand him in a way. Evil Mr. Whispering, yeah. Must be frustrating to know, okay, what could save us is there and plenty of. And now I got kicked out again. The question is if the mining is now safe, if that makes sense. Like, so as I understood it, it was difficult to get to the actual main part where you can mine it. He reminds that from a book perspective, the mining of Mithril was very important for Khazad-dûm. So that is true, they dug too deep and too greedily, but that was 5,000 years later. And they found it in the Second Age, 5,000 years earlier. By the way, it says during deathless on this thing, on this gorge. Forgot the name. So yeah, can be definitely understood as him, as Durin being removed from being the heir to the throne. But as I said, here we also see the flower in the hair of Nori. It will later be taken by the cultist leader, the Dweller. Very strange. Good evening, Beligor. Nice to see you. But yeah, it's really kind of strange with Durin. And he talks about the market or something like that. Very strange. I would assume maybe there are other Harfoots and they meet at some point and then they change things and call it the market. Possible. It's not Saturday, yeah. I want to stream, make the watch party on Sunday, I think, but I was kind of tired and I was like, okay, let's move it to today. I'm still there, yeah. Am I muted? No, I'm still there. No, you have to be on the YouTube stream to hear me. Yeah, maybe they had to make up a background conversation, but usually I felt like here also the whispering or the singing. And I said, this looks a bit like she can't see. Pretty strange. Yeah, Twitch works a bit better with the watch parties, I agree. Yeah, Cedric has like a weapon in her hand. And she's not impressed. The Dweller. And we looked into, in the analysis stream, we looked into this quite a bit. Yeah. Poor half-feet wagon. This, I assume, is where the Morgul Vale later will be, and it's where Minas Morgul or Minas Ithil later is. Roundabout. At least close to it. Maybe not the exact point, but you know what I mean. It's calm for being bad people. That's... Which one is Melania Blade? The ascetic is Melania Blade of Mikala. Bratäpfel, yes. Poor Elendil. I'm very curious if Elendil also leaves with Miriel or if he stays back. If he leaves and his son should still be alive, he won't notice it for quite some time. Yeah, he could also stay back. Here we see some, I assume, Numenorian death traditions. Must be a difficult walk to go inside this tent if you're trying to find out if your mother is dead or still living here. Also, some pretty intense scenes here, like this wound thing here. Losing a leg is also quite unfortunate. This tent is also time and space bending. I like that Theo also hugs Arondir a moment later when he sees him. I mean, it would have made more sense to fight them in this fortress, which is kind of designed to fight, make it difficult for people from the outside to get in, I feel. I don't think the mechanism was really obvious in a way that it was connected to the sword. Like, nobody of us fans predicted that it was just a key to stick into this, in a hole at this weird statue there. I like this line though that she said, "Save your pity for the enemy," because yeah, we know Numenor, and yeah, Numenor is the greatest power, I guess, when it comes to military and so on. in the second age, and even in the third age, to be honest. Like, Gondor is not even close to the power of Numenor at his peak, I feel. I'm definitely not. She just says that the elves will be ready, not that she will be a commander of an army. I don't know, chat, what is wrong with some people. Like, it's really annoying in having a watch party and just having this consistent nitpicking. Just, come on, people. Like, some of these nitpicks are just plain stupid. It's just, I don't get it, people. I don't get it. I understand that some people hate the show or are disappointed in a lot of things, but we have this discussion every time. Like, Galadriel is the daughter of Finarfin. She has still a standing, even though she was kind of exiled. If she returns, some people will listen to her. It's not unrealistic to assume that she can get an elven army in some shape or form at some point. Yeah, she just says the elves will be ready. And you know why they will be ready? Because when the elves are still around and Sauron attacks, the elves either die or they fight. That's the whole reason why this is. I agree, it's not nitpicking if it's bad, but as said, some of the criticisms are, in my opinion, just so nitpicky and so specific. They don't even make sense in a way. Like, why would the elves not fight? Yeah, let's sit there. Every elf is sitting on a chair waiting for Sauron to slaughter them. Is that the proposal? Do you really think that Galadriel has no influence when she returns? And we know that Sauron might attack the elves at some point. Like, it makes no sense. Of course, the elves will be ready when Numenor comes and wants to fight the enemy. Like, it becomes pretty apparent now for the elves that Sauron might be back or something like this might happen. There's a difference between accepting something is bad, and there's a difference between something is good and something might be bad at times. Like, when it comes to armies, it's not about friends, it's about interest, and the elves have an interest in not dying to Sauron, so, and Galadriel is a capable warrior and commander, it seems, so why shouldn't she be able to get an army again when Sauron attacks? Makes no sense, sorry. Like I said, I'm also criticizing the show quite a lot, but come on, people. It's just stupid. All she's saying, what she basically is implying is that the elves, she will go to the elves and she will try what she can that the elves are prepared when the Numenorians come back and fight whoever the enemy appears here in Mordor to be. Like, there's a difference between criticizing and snarking all the time. It's just too much snarking, in my opinion. I think the elves can't, like, that is, no, the show is not implying that the elves attack the dwarves, because the elves only have to till spring. If the dwarves defend until spring, as you can imagine, it might be very difficult to destroy a dwarven realm, even for elves, inside a mountain. All they need to do is survive till spring, and then the elves die automatically. So the elves' only option is to leave Middle-earth at this point when they don't get Mithril. They can't fight a war against the elves. It makes no sense. No, the only way to save them is leave Middle-earth and go to Aman, where this problem is not there. Can one really oversnag? Yeah, it is possible. Yeah, that might be a reason that people really are. I mean, it was a tough 2 years for a lot of people. But I'm not necessarily here to snark completely over the show. Like, for example, this is something I would criticize. Like, it's completely stupid to have like a heavily wounded Halbrand who is still bleeding, as you can see in the scene. Maybe it's just his shirt, but they could have changed it, I guess. Setting him on a horse and letting him ride for 850 or 800 miles. Or if he wants to go to Lindon, he even has to ride for 1,000, 100 miles or so. That's completely stupid. I can get when people snark about this scene. But you don't have to search for something to snark about in every scene. It's just a bit excessive, in my opinion. I mean, I assume he's Sauron and he's not really hurt and is just pretending to be, but yeah. Yeah, he's kind of alright. Like, it's really a weird scene, like. And this is the whole reason why I believe Halbrand is Sauron now, because he now goes to the Elven realms. Are you kidding me? Complete, like, heavily wounded in a way. It makes no sense. I'm not sure if anybody is like an experienced riding person, but how long would it take to ride 1,000 miles with a horse? I'm not sure how many miles you can make a day. I guess it also depends on the terrain, right? If you have streets and so on, or if you go through like off-road basically. Let's say they make 50 miles a day with horses. It would take them 22 days to just get to Lindon, and it's just... Yeah, and shaking up and down day and night for many hours. With his wound, doesn't sound healthy at all. Yeah, but an elven king, a dwarven king who lets an entire folk die and leave Middle Earth because, for whatever reason, he thinks he should not go for it, is also in a way evil. Like it is, he knows there's somebody in need. As Durin says, his friend is drowning, and he's not helping. It's not only about Elrond, it's also about all the other elves. And I know that the elves and the dwarves have a difficult relationship, but as said, when the orcs and Sauron at his peak comes at the elves or at the dwarves, they won't have a chance without the elves. They need the elves in Middle-earth. Like, it's in my opinion not wise to have your allies leave Middle-earth and think, yeah, everything will be fine from there. I don't think it's a wise decision by King Durin, even though from our knowledge with the Balrog, you could argue it makes sense because then, but let's put it that way, if he is not mining Mithril, then they die probably sooner. It's kind of interesting. If at Gallop would need to change the horse at every 20 kilometers. Oh, I mean, it's completely right, because the horses also can't run indefinitely. But that would mean if they go for, I don't know, 1,100 kilometers. This also looks like, by the way, a metal album cover from the 90s. It's kind of funny. I say 1,100.1.6, so 1,760 kilometers. Let's say they don't have spare horses with them that they can change. Then it would take, let's say they can only make 20 kilometers a day. It would be 138 days of riding or something like that. Yeah, but the dwarves also have not noticed the that the Balrog is there. That the dwarves also don't know. Like, it's incomplete information, but they know evil exists. They know orcs exist. And if he is so wise, then he should also predict that evil might return at some point in some form. But still, I think it's interesting. I really like the conflict between Durin III and his son here, because it makes complete. I feel like both sides have an argument for their stance, and it feels. That's why I wouldn't say that Disa is necessarily evil. She just has a very different opinion and feels like, because of whatever beliefs King Durin has, he will let the dwarves die. The elves die, and that is definitely a problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole elves will die next Wednesday is a completely stupid addition to the show. But yeah, you know what I mean. I'm glad people enjoyed the watch party. If I stop this now, does it stop for anybody else in the Amazon Watch Party chat now? You should still see the India studio, Sound and Vision India stuff. Very curious if somebody's still in chat. Yeah, it also says TPH Games has stopped the video. That's interesting. Can anybody press on play now, or am I the only one who can control that? In case somebody's still watching in the watch party Amazon thing. But here it seems there is the feature exists that their stuff can be changed. It's very interesting. I would say some of the writing is done, but you are still here. Is it JP? Is it now stopped for you as well? It's paused. Okay. Can you continue it? You are in control. Okay. So if I have to press again, it starts to do more stuff. Very interesting to see. I hope that this feature they might implement into the Twitch watch party as well. It seems like it exists. That's very fascinating. Only you? Okay, thank you, Chad. I mean, also, there's so many weird things in this show. For example, I will also end the the watch party. Thank you for the people joining there on the Amazon watch party feature. Very interesting. Yes, I want to close it. Oh, okay. Very interesting to see. They're frozen in time. I feel like it maybe breaks the flow of watching. Like when you watch an episode, though it can make sense if you already did an analysis stream where we went frame by frame through it anyway, so I didn't want to repeat and just have the we can watch here experience. People can turn my rambling less loud if they want, maybe. Yeah, it's really interesting that some people spend a lot of time when they clearly dislike the show so much, but whatever. It's if they want to do it like this, then fine. I'm also a bit sad that it comes to an end. On the other side, I'm relieved, so I can maybe, like it's really relatively work intense time currently, especially Friday's a nightmare for me. Also should maybe stop the timer now. Oh, stopped. I just had the wrong thing. Okay, awesome. I might also reset the timer and move it away already. No, I don't want to have the show watched by only people who like it, but if you like it so much that you have to, I don't know, like I have an analysis stream for this, where we can be more nitpicky, I feel. But in my opinion, the watch party is more about let's watch this show again for the people who have the desire to rewatch it and maybe talk a bit about the show. But I don't want to like if people get too snarky in the comments, I feel like I just want to enjoy the show. I just don't want to nitpick every scene now. It's just sometimes a bit much that it's not as much fun for me if I'm not on the side or if I notice that people are just too nitpicky. You know what I mean? I can understand a certain frustration with the show or that people have to have fair criticisms, but you know, you can get into the spiral and then you're just walking on a circle, just nitpicking every scene and repeating. We had some of these discussions in the analysis stream for like, it was 7 hours long for this episode, by the way. Like we discussed quite a lot already. And I don't mind that people, like I said, I don't want that people can like or dislike the show however they want, but sometimes, like, I would also like if people maybe write something nice at times. You know what I mean? Like, I disagree that everything in the show is fundamentally bad. There are also some good scenes here and there, and sometimes I can appreciate those. But I agree though that there are some scenes in the show and stuff in the show that is fundamentally bad, as people say. But I feel like you have to find a balance, and if the chat is too negative, then it's not as much fun for me personally. It's unfortunate, Lynn, that you missed the analysis, but of course, if you are still interested, it is of course available as a VOD on the channel. I write something nice all the time, that is true. Yeah, that people have to deal with other people in chat, that is very hard to control. But it's of course unfortunate. Like, nobody should attack anybody. But as said, it's sometimes just a bit much. I hope that the season finale is good. Oh, Gaia's here. Welcome. And it's just, yeah. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes you get the feeling that some people might hate the show so much that you wonder, why do you join a watch party then? I mean, I'm not a channel that is known for ranting, kind of. Can you talk about the choice of pairing Theo with Galadriel? Have you had any new ideas about that? I found that it's an interesting choice, as I think Suriel and probably Beligo also criticized, and I would agree with them, that it's very strange that the others are like, I don't know, 50 meters away, and Galadriel just takes Theo and walks off, and then she's later at the camp as all the others. It makes very little sense if you consider how small the village is. So I can definitely see that they again played a bit with the village here, if that makes sense, with time and space, and it feels a bit artificial that way. However, the scenes in of themselves I found very interesting, because remember when I talked about the what's it called? When we talked about the first episode, maybe, wait a minute, maybe I can bring here production up for a moment. I just have to be careful with stuff, as always. Let me just check something really quick, that I get everything on the right side of things. That should be here. Okay, that should be... first episode, it's the prologue. Remember Child Galadriel? I'm not sure where she is. Yes, Mr. Boat. Oh. Child Galadriel in episode 1. And yeah, Theo is also not like, I'm not sure how old he is, but he's of course not an adult yet, so is kind of similar in that regard, and it feels a bit like that Galadriel, when we see her the first time as adult in the show, not the first time, but when she's, for example, on this expedition, she is kind of still Child Galadriel, just in the body of an adult, and that is kind of strange, I feel, and it was criticized a lot. Like, Galadriel behaves really strange in the show, and she has like, here in this, for example, she endangers her companions by continuing this mission further and further and further. And when they got almost killed by an ice troll, you can argue it's a bit unrealistic that all the other elves get killed or destroyed so easily by the ice troll or snow troll, and she just kills it pretty fast. Whatever, but the point is more, Galadriel feels very immature at times in a strange way, like lacking experience, which is very untypical and unrealistic for her portrayal. But then later in the Theo section, I feel like there she has matured a lot, if that makes sense. Like she became suddenly a much better leader, and understands maybe what she did wrong in the past. And as a result, when she's on her way with Theo, yeah, her character, it makes kind of sense, because now Theo is the character that is not mature, and Galadriel can basically, if that makes sense, can teach him what she has learned in the meantime. While not many episodes ago, basically last episode, she still wanted to murder all the orcs and Adar Last and so on, and she was still not there, if that makes sense. at this point in her character development. And now in this scene, she can reflect on this, because Theo is basically like Galadriel was before, and now Galadriel has to be the voice of reason, like Elrond once was when he tried to convince her to maybe go back to Aman, or to go to the West Continent and learn there. He's a teenager. Yeah, I was looking for the word, but yeah, he's still a teenager and not an adult yet. And now he lost his home. He has lost many things, though luckily his mother survived. But yeah, he has lost his friend Rowan. His home was completely burnt down. He has to find a completely new life and so on. And he is obviously angry. And Galadriel now has to teach him, no, Theo, don't go there. It's a dark place. You don't want to go there. It really seems like Galadriel has grown a lot, if that makes sense, in the last few minutes, basically, of this show. I think Galadriel is still figuring things out while she's talking to Theo. I feel like some of the answers she gives, she also has to think for a moment herself. Like it's almost like it's like therapy talking with Theo about it. As this, I kind of like this. And Galadriel says basically, or comes to very similar conclusions as Elrond at times, which I also found very interesting. Tinga. Yeah, season 2 must really get better. Like, the writing is simply not on point in this show. So what are my predictions for episode, or my expectations for episode 8? Somebody asked. I think it was Gaia. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, my expectation is that, I don't know. I don't know if it will be a good episode, to be honest. They have a lot of things to do and they only have 1 hour left. If it would be like a 2-hour episode, I would maybe be more optimistic, but in 1 hour they still have to explain us what's going on with the stranger and these cultists and the hobbits going for him. And we have the Halbrand Eregion stuff and Lindon stuff. I know where he's going. Well, I know where he's going, but let's pretend I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they also have to reveal who Sauron is, because this show is like, it makes no sense to have a complete season that is basically just set up for the main plot line that awaits us in season 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then have not the antagonist introduced in some way. So I think we will see Sauron, and I think the big reveal will be that at least Galadriel or Halbrand will reveal to the audience or to Galadriel that he is Sauron, and nobody will believe Galadriel. I think that is where they will go. That's my expectation. Like, Galadriel will find out at some point that something is wrong with Halbrand. Maybe due to what she has learned in previous episodes, that at some point said, wait a moment, something with Halbrand, something is wrong with that guy. So currently, simply because, like, the hints were already there. They are just, like, let's say 3 arguments against Halbrand being Sauron, while there are like 15 for him being Sauron. And it's, in my opinion, what we might see. So that they have to do. Poppy could also be still Sauron, I agree on that. But yeah, it's really strange. I feel like the whole setup is so weird in this show. Yeah, it is definitely a show. I agree with Belig, where they're of missed opportunities. Like the problem with this show is they get so many things right. Like I think you can of course criticize the visuals at times and so on, but overall I found it so far pretty impressive what they did. The camera works. I feel like most of the actors work. I know there are some people complaining about the acting, and maybe some acting is not 100% on point on times, but that happens. Overall, I feel like it was not a catastrophe, and we also saw some pretty good acting performance in the show so far. So even that works out. I like the actors, and everything works out so far. It's just that the writing is holding the show back, and they, in my opinion, just miss the opportunity. And so far, I said it in my review as well, it's not a good Tolkien adaptation. It's just like a fantasy show with some Tolkien elements in it. And there's some exceptional good scenes, like the dialogue between Galadriel and Adar, but very often it's not that, unfortunately. But as I said, it's not like everything is terrible. There are also some pretty good parts in the show. Yeah, the mystery box part is time wasting. I also agree, like I don't mind if there would be a little bit of mystery box, but it's just too much. You can't rely a whole season on these mystery box elements where you want to keep people interested in the show by just building more and more mysteries. This is not Lost. Tolkien is not like I said before. In like, I don't know, I often feel like I repeat myself too many times. But in Lord of the Rings, if you read the book, you notice that very early on in the book, like the Shadow of the Past, it's already explained what's the deal with the ring, what's going on, who is Sauron, and what dangers might lie ahead, and what to do. And Tolkien never really created a mystery box. It was never about finding out who are the Nazgul and the Black Riders, finding out about who is Sauron, finding out what is the mystery of this one ring. Like, Tolkien explains this pretty much at the beginning of the show, right? Like, if we look into, I don't know, Shadow of the Past is chapter 2 in Lord of the Rings. Like, in the second chapter of the book, it's already all explained that we need to know about the ring and the complete world. Tolkien is not somebody who of course, Tom Bombadil is a mystery and an enigma, but he's not important for the show, and it's many people also don't like, I guess, the Tom Bombadil chapters, but it's because I don't know, it slows down the pacing quite a lot in the book, but I like it, and it's a mystery of world building in a way. It's less a mystery of the plot of the story itself. And I feel like this they get wrong in the show a lot. They don't really manage to get the characters going. Like, I feel it got better in the recent episodes. Like I said, the Galadriel Theo dialogue in this episode I really liked. It was, in my opinion, very good. I missed like a bunch of comments while explaining this. Yeah, Nesteron, they said in an interview that they will be busy with the second season for a couple of years. So it is to be assumed that it won't come out 2023, but 2024 maybe, or it would be bad in my opinion if it comes out later. Like, they can't take 3 years for the next season. It's very unrealistic in my opinion. I think it would even be bad for Rings of Power if episode 8 is not an absolute killer episode and they wait for 2 years with the next episodes, the show could really lose a bit of steam, I feel, or get forgotten again. I'm not sure if it would help or the show. On the other side, if it's not a good episode, you could say, we need now more time to reevaluate everything, maybe improve. And then I would say, yeah, if you need the time for improvement, whatever. But yeah. Yeah, the problem with the show is definitely that they're not telling a story in a way. Like, the story never really starts and makes only baby steps at times. Like, they never really get the plot going in season 1. Now we are 7 hours in. That's a problem. That's a good question, Lynn. If I think I have it saved somewhere, my structure, but the problem is I don't know where. Or I didn't save it. That's also a possibility. But episode 4 I was really confused with. But I think the Galadriel part should have kind of worked. Let me just see. Probably won't have it here on the list. Depends on how many. No, it's just too much. It was probably too long ago. Oh, I did it in Paint and not in Photoshop. I think it was Photoshop. It's not in my list here anymore. No, it's also not on this list. Might be really difficult to find. Unfortunately, to be honest. It was in episode 4, so in theory. Not here. Where else could I have saved it? It was the analysis stream, I remember that. I think I found it. Episode 4 Confused is a file. And I was a bit off, I have to admit. Let me just try to bring it on screen. Let me just see the other thing as well. So this we made when episode 4 came out. It's kind of interesting to look back at what we did there. The Superfans campaign, I have to admit, I couldn't watch it completely because it was just like, I don't like the word cringe too much, but this was so hard to watch, I couldn't watch it. So I don't like it. It's the short answer to this surprise. It was terrible. The angry video game nerd would ask, what were they thinking? Okay, this works. Transition. So remember, yeah, this I made some time ago. I like how I described the first episodes as nonsense, wasting time of a story. No time left. And then my prediction was, and it was kind of right, that the actual story kind of starts between 5 and 8. And that was basically what happens. 3 peoples versus Arda establishing Sauron's rule over Mordor. Sauron's rule over Mordor has not happened. But my prediction was in episode 5, Harfoot, Southlanders, Orcs, Khazad-dûm, ship explodes in Numenor, delay. The delay was wrong. It was not a delay, it just made less ships. Maybe it was a slight delay, I'm not sure. What happened in episode 5, to be honest? Like, let me just double check. This is 6. No, this is 7, 6, 5. This one here. What happened in that was this episode. And they leave. Parazon. This stuff. Let me just bring back my other thing here. Southlands and Orcs. Yeah, that kind of is right, I guess. I thought they would get further in the plot in the Southlanders and the Orc stuff. I think episode 5 was just terrible because of the lore stuff, which I also completely disliked, so I can understand that. But I feel like the actual episode, like as a fantasy show episode, was pretty decent in my opinion. You are right, not much happened except for that they finally managed to position the characters a bit better. Like this episode was still a complete setup episode, unfortunately. Everything had to be set up. So episode 6, Galadriel arrives in Mordor. That was my prediction. I was right with that. I assumed that the fighting in Mordor would go on over 2 episodes. Here I was wrong. Episode 7 was, okay, thing breaks out. I also predicted like that the final battle with Adar, Plotris, and Sauron reveal would also happen in Mordor. I think that the Sauron reveal will be true. There will be a plot twist in episode 8. I'm pretty sure about this. There won't be a final battle with Adar, though, in this episode. I'm not even sure if we will see him again. Otaku Senpai is also here. Do you have any predictions on the thing? So, my predictions are Halbrand is Sauron. The Stranger is one of the wizards. Potentially Gandalf, I assume. But it could also be Radagast. Maybe ideally he would be a blue wizard. If he has to be a wizard, please let him be a blue wizard. But I think it will be Gandalf. I could imagine that they won't reveal it's Gandalf, but they will heavily hint at it or something like that. Then I had also like a second thing here. Sadly, I can't switch between these scenes in the full screen mode, which is strange. Pretty strange. It has come. Not sure how your name is pronounced, but much appreciated. Thank you for your membership. Pretty awesome. Welcome to the circle of crazy people subscribe to this channel. The other thing here I did. Yeah, this was it's kind of confusing to see this. I still agree, like episode 1 was a really bad starting point for the characters. Yeah, and basically Child Galadriel, Adult Child Galadriel, and Numenor Galadriel was a bit further, and then we have post-Numenor Galadriel in 4 and 5, which I thought in 5 she would leave Numenor already, she didn't. So this is episode 6 actually. And then we have the Middle-earth Galadriel, which is different. It's basically, yeah, I feel like it was kind of what we predicted in episode 4. And then seasons 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we get closer to the Lord of the Rings Galadriel. Season 1, we only have Middle-earth Galadriel, or the starting point of her. She will probably develop a bit further. I think I would agree. I would say though that starting here would have been a smarter way to start the show. Like when they would have sent Galadriel in the first episode directly to Numenor or something like that. We could have skipped like we would have much more space towards the end in this case, in my opinion. Yeah, I also agree. Like Aetis Kamses says, 5 without Mithril is the best by far, in my opinion. I agree on that. Like, episode 5 is a pretty decent episode if you take out the Mithril out of the equation, if that makes sense. I agree, though, that nothing really happens in this episode, but it's a very important episode for the plot development, in my opinion. So, that kind of helped that one. Episode 7, I mean, the strangest part about episode 7 is that I hope they would be now far beyond the setup part, but in episode 7 they made setup again for episode 8. Like the plot didn't really develop any further. It was just, okay, we have some plot twists incoming, we need to prepare those, and that's the purpose of episode 7. So I can see that people don't like it. Would have been better if they like... It's a stupid reason, like they want Halbrand in the Elven realms, like in Lindon and Eregion and so on. To get there, they have to make up a completely stupid excuse for why he goes there, and that is just that I don't like. Yeah, episode 5 shows a bit of politics in Numenor and so on. It's not a perfect episode, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's one of the better episodes. It just is too late. Like, what I would criticize about episode 5 is episode 5 should have been episode 2 or something like that. You know what I mean? And if they would have, or maybe episode 3. Like, imagine we would be now in the point we see in episode 7, but we would have 3 more episodes left. That would be awesome. Yeah, I agree with Nestor on them. This is the only Tolkien-related show we are going to get. I want it to be good. Now the chat just scrolled up. So bad. I really hope they can put their heads together and turn it around. We have 4 more seasons that could be good. Yeah, I agree. Like, I also feel like the show is getting, in a weird way, better. But it's never using its full potential because they are consistently falling back on doing stupid stuff in the show. Like, it's almost infuriating. Like, they always, sometimes, like I said, some of the dialogues are pretty good, and then in a few scenes or an episode later, they just come, let's maybe do this completely nonsensical stuff here. Oh, the bots. Stop it, bots. It's another bot. The last few streams we had very little bots. I also criticized YouTube for having like this complex content ID system, but they can't figure out bots posting the same message 50 million times. What's wrong with you, YouTube? Yeah, it's also an interesting question to ask. Will the stranger meet the other characters? Well, I thought I'd drop back in for a few minutes, but I can't stay. Okay, Otaku-senpai, see you next time. Thank you for dropping by for a moment. YouTube is as broken as the world. Yeah, it probably is. Who are the bots? Maybe the bots are Sauron. I wouldn't even say, I wouldn't, like, if I would rate the show, I would say at most it's a 7. If I'm really generous with the show, like a 7 out of 10 or so. Maybe a 7.5 with a lot of goodwill, but I don't know. The last episode has to be absolute nail it. Like, then I see potential, but I don't know. Maybe the stranger will be integrated into the further story. 4 out of 10 is my score. I would maybe also go more 6 out of 10 or so. I can though see, like, I can see a 4 out of 10. I feel though a 1 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10 would be a bit too low. Like, there are far worse shows, I would assume. Yeah, episode 6 was maybe an 8 for the most part. 7.58, yeah, I can see that. That's a good question. What shows are 9 to 10 out of 10? I'm not watching many TV shows, I should say. So for me personally, of course, Star Trek The Next Generation is one of my favorite shows of all time, so I would rate it pretty high. I would maybe, though, not give it a 10, only maybe a 9. Because I know people often like a plot that is connected and not just a bunch of standalone episodes, if that makes sense. But it's from a different time, I have to say. So that I would rate pretty high. Good old Star Trek. So, of course, when it comes just to personal preference and not of nostalgia, I would give it a 10 as well. But I think more objectively, but you could argue maybe no, I would say it's still a good show. I like to watch it. Mm. I will watch TNG basically almost every year, so I know season. I haven't watched it this year, I have to admit. Maybe I should. There's definitely some episodes I skip in season 1 and 2, though. But season 1 and 2 also have some good episodes. The good thing about it, it's not connected, so you can just pick the episodes you like. Derek, 10 out of 10. Okay, it's funny. There's one is it in season? I have to look it up. I haven't seen it in a while, but I think it's the worst. It's, in my opinion, the worst episode of TNG. It must be in season 1 or 2. You remember these episodes with these, I don't know, let's call them settlers that live like not back in time, but they don't seem to be very advanced, if that makes sense. And they get teleported back. They got beamed up on the Enterprise and then brought somewhere and resettled or so. I forgot which episode this was. Forgot how it was called, like, I can't remember. Is it not also? I haven't watched it in time. I think it's also the one with the. Isn't this the one with the clones? I have to say, Encounter at Farpoint is a very weird episode, but I kind of like it. I have to admit. I forgot what is this episode called? Does somebody know in chat? Any Trekkies here who know every season 1 episode out of their head? It could also be season 2. That's a problem. I forgot. I don't remember the name of the episode. And the problem is I often watch it in German, so the episode names are also different. Let me just double check it. I need to see a screenshot. Okay, I think it is Up the Long Ladder in season 2. I think that is. It could be wrong though. Yeah, it is Up the Long Ladder. It is the episode with the clones. That is such a strange episode. It's episode 18 in season 2. I just also found another funny one. Oh boy. Yeah. Nerdlander has found it as well. For the record, Adar the Great is a first Lord of Mordor, that's true. Yeah, I know. Avatar is probably very familiar. What other shows would I rate really high, though? The problem is when I think of shows, I always think of Star Trek. And there's only TNG. I also like Voyager. In Voyager, I also don't like the first 2 seasons, though. Deep Space Nine, I also like quite a bit. Enterprise never caught me too much. Like, I'm not the hugest fan. Discovery is a very tough one. Like, I hate season 1. Season 2 I found okayish. And then, like, I didn't like the direction it was going then. I have not seen The Sandman. Like I said, I think there's no, currently, besides Rings of Power, there's no show Oh, The Expanse is a great show, yeah. I haven't watched it completely yet, though. So, I said it in previously. Babylon 5, I know too little. I have seen it a little bit, and I kind of liked it because I like sci-fi shows, but I can't really comment on that because I know it too little. It's too long ago. I just know I watched Stargate SG-1 quite a bit, and also Stargate Atlantis. So I think Stargate Atlantis, only the first 3 seasons are kind of okay, and and the original Stargate show also difficult. There I read Mob Psycho. One Punch Man season 1 as anime is also fantastic. One of my favorite shows. That I maybe would also rate 10 out of 10 or so. Maybe 9 out of 10. No, I give it a 10. That's one of my favorite shows. Though it's not really a show that runs frequently. And season 2 is a bit tough, I have to admit. But yeah, it's also one of the newer shows I kind of watched. Queen's Gambit I have not watched, unfortunately. I watched every day for years. Was stuttering. I only focused on the first few episodes. I only found the first few episodes a week. Premise was Q. Q is a very I really like Q though. I could argue not every Q episode is good, but I think most are. There's also a really strange later episode. Oh, Arcane. Yeah, Arcane I also haven't seen. I have played League of Legends myself for a couple of years, but I got so sick of that game that I can't do anything that is related to it or its universe anymore in my life. So, yeah. Haven't seen it as a result. So I heard good things about it. Did somebody see Edge Runner, the Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever, whenever it plays show? It might be interesting as well. But as I said, I rarely watch TV shows or that's longer. Like when it comes to free time stuff, I mostly play video games instead. When you're playing the tabletop RPG. I would say 10 is also a score I only give to works that basically change the genre in a way. So I would I don't know, Blade Runner for example. Blade Runner is a strange example though. I'm not sure if I would give it a 10 or a 9, but it would be a 10 contender because after Blade Runner, Cyberpunk started looking a certain way, and it's as a result very, very influential to the genre. There are also some films where I would say you can't really make them any better, or that have had a lot of impact and influence on filmmaking in other ways. For example, I don't know, Once Upon a Time in the West, or maybe The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like they had, interestingly, a lot of influence in a way. Or The Seven Samurai also is a film that has like a lot of influence on film. Those are films I would give a 10. Edge Runner was fantastic, having completed the game to 100%. I recognized some locations they used, and the feeling of depression and sadness watching it was awesome. It's a sad story after all. I also completed Cyberpunk pretty much, not 100% I would say, but nearly 100%. And yeah, really liked it as well. But I didn't like the technical problems with the game when it came out. That's, of course, a big problem. Good, The Bad and the Ugly is my 11 out of 10 movie. I can see that. I also like it a lot. It's a fantastic film. It's an interesting question. What do you think when you really like the good, the good, the bad, and the ugly? How would you rate in contrast Once Upon a Time in the West? The German name is Spiel mir das Lied vom Tod, which in my opinion is a pretty cool title as well. Only 8 out of 10. I would like Spiel mir das Lied vom Tod is one of my favorite films, I think. I like it even more than The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, though I think when it comes to developing his style, The Good and the Bad, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is more important for Sergio Leone than Once Upon a Time in the West. But I feel Once Upon a Time in the West is like he is perfection. Like he perfected his stuff there mostly. And maybe one or two things you can't like, but for me it's just, yeah, I really like it. It's very interesting to see the previous films before The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like the Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More and so on. Like they are very interesting to see on their own, but he nailed it with the third film. Sure, might be biased when you have a crush on Clint Eastwood. I can see that. And that's true. What I like about Once Upon a Time is how they use music in this film. Like it is, my opinion, like Sergio Leone always had like this very fantastic use of music in his films and playing with diegetic and non-diegetic sound, and like very nice scenes in the show as a result. And I feel like in Once Upon a Time in the West, the music is needed to understand the film itself. And I kind of like that idea. Like, at the end, like, you wonder why this guy is always playing his, whatever it's called in English. To be honest, what is it called in English? Probably the same as in German, but harmonica? Mouse organ, something like that, why he plays it. And at the end of the film you understand why what he's playing sounds the way it sounds. And that I find very, like, that's my opinion, a very, very strong harmonica. That's in my opinion a very, very strong plot. It's not a plot twist, but a reveal. I found this I don't know, it makes complete sense inside of the film, if that makes sense. And I feel like I've never seen a film that was so good at explaining like a musical motive, and it's even part of the soundtrack. So it makes, like, I don't know, it was like it's just perfection in my opinion. Yeah, the distortion is like it's also, the melody is not beautiful. In the German title, like the English title is Once Upon a Time in the West. The German title translates to "Play Me the Song of Death" or something like that. And I can't. It's very fitting in my opinion. We could maybe argue it spoils basically the twist already, but it's pretty cool. Also, at the beginning, there's no music at all, and it's just sounds that add up and so on. I really like that as well. Yeah, Hitchcock's The Birds is also a pretty intense film. But yeah, that is a film like Once Upon a Time and in the West, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly are for me 10 out of 10 films, I would say. So, and in this context, you have to, of course, like if we talk about 10 out of 10, and you look at those films, for example, that I just like I said, Once Upon a Time, The West, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Seventh Samurai, Citizen Kane, Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, if we go to real classics, Metropolis, M, and so on, Ghost in the Shell, Akira, 2001. I'm just looking at a list I made at some point, and so on. Like, really, really fantastic films. Maybe The Birds, Psycho, and so on. Then I feel like Rings of Power is just miles away from that quality. The comedy westerns in German. If you're from Germany, Bud Spencer and Terence Hill have, of course, a very, a very, very high standing here, because yeah, Apocalypse Now to have some films of for the name, right? How's the director called? Ford, Francis Ford Coppola, of course. I just thought, huh? Some name was missing in my head. And of course, yeah, Full Metal Jacket, also a very interesting one from Kubrick. Quite interesting. That's true. There might be no real shows that can touch cinema in a way. I mean, Lord of the Rings are also pretty great films in this in their own regard. Like, they did also some very special stuff that was very impressive at that time. What Tolkien story would be good on the big screen? Well, it's really hard to tell because I feel like a lot of stories are very abstract or very only outlined, so it's difficult. Obviously, Lord of the Rings, but I guess that doesn't count. No, Gattaca is also a very interesting one. But maybe I'm very curious because they are going to do this. Maybe the story of Helm Hammerhand I could see as working as one film, and they are going for this in this anime adaptation, The War of the Rohirrim. I can definitely see this working in one film and potentially being good. Who is most probable to be Sauron? We talked about this a moment ago. I would currently I don't like that the films go in this direction. I'm not a fan of the theory, but I think most things currently hint at Halbrand. So my prediction is Halbrand will be Sauron. I'm 90% sure of that by this point. Oh, Firefly. Firefly is for me also a 10 out of 10 series, kind of. I was so sad when it was cancelled. Firefly I really liked. I can't even tell why I liked it so much. I think it's just a fun thing to watch. Maybe it's a 9 out of 10. But I personally was a fan of that. I like the characters. Yeah, of course. It's also possible that it's somebody else, but yeah. Yeah, Firefly, was such a great show. Yeah, the dialogue was pretty good. It had an interesting world. It had good pacing. It had this space western feeling to it, which I kind of liked. So yeah, it had some good stuff to it. I don't understand how the show was cancelled. How could this happen? What do you mean with who are Valar gods? So the Valar are, I would more, humans often call them gods, but they are technically, there's only one god, and I would more compare them more to angels of high rank. Oh, Spielkalb is here, welcome. There's one twist in the film which I didn't like, to be honest, and it was probably because they knew there was nothing more to come after that. But yeah. Beyond that, yeah. Exactly, they're more like angels. The leader of these of the Valar is Manwë. His wife is Varda. And interestingly, the brother I'm not sure if it is mentioned in the Silmarillion that Melkor was also once one of the Valar, but he's the brother of Manwë in at least some versions. Oh, X-Files. I also like to watch X-Files, but a long time ago. Is there anything else to say about them? But yeah, they are basically very powerful beings, and they are bound to the world where Lord of the Rings plays to form it in a way, and Yeah, and there's also Ulmo, of course, Yavanna and Aule and Orome, Nienna. Did I forget anybody? Yeah, Mandos, I forgot, or Namo. These are the 8 most powerful of the Valar. I think I forgot nobody. It's really difficult to order them by power. Original Battlestar Galactica 6 out of 10. I watched it as a kid a lot, so I haven't seen it in many, many years. Yeah, Melkor was more powerful than all the other Valar together at some point, and then he started spreading his power, and due to spreading his power, he was not. He was still the most powerful, but if you attacked his person, he became now beatable, if that makes sense. It's hard to explain, but he infused the world itself with his power and created many servants, and so his power spread. Most watched movie. It would definitely be the Lord of Rings films I watched most, for sure. Besides that, I've seen Pirates of the Caribbean Part 1. I have seen a lot of times. Star Wars I also have seen quite the classic trilogy I also have seen a lot of times. Oh, Spaceballs. I've also seen Spaceballs quite a bit. What about Interstellar? Also, I like it a lot. That's also one of my favorite films. I like Inception. Inception. I like more than Interstellar when it comes to films from Christopher Nolan, I would say. But I really like Interstellar as well. I haven't seen it that many times though. Like Attack on Titan or Death Note, difficult one. Yeah, I think the stranger will meet the cultists and maybe destroy the cultists convincingly. Just glad no one mentioned the MCU. I have not seen many Marvel films. I think one of the few one of the Iron Man films I saw, and one of the Thor films, and I think I've not seen any other. Attack on Titan or Death Note. Like I said, I don't know, to be honest. Impossible to answer. I'm not too deep in both franchise, but I've seen a bit of both, so of both animes, so it's really hard to tell. The bots are on a roll today. Yeah, it's very interesting. We hadn't seen them in previous streams. Wait, if you were responsible for writing episode 8 of Rings of Power and had to make a 1-hour show that wrapped it up, how would you want to see it happen? I don't know. If I'm honest, I wouldn't accept writing episode 8 because I feel like the point they have written themselves in is not a great one. Yeah, something like Suriel says, Galadriel wakes up and says, "It was all a dream." Something like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's impossible to answer this question, I feel, because I find the position they are currently in very strange. So for the final episode, I would have to reveal who Sauron. I would also reveal who Sauron is, because the show needs an antagonist. Finally. And who would I make Sauron? Would I also make Halbrand Sauron? Probably not. So I would maybe make it like that Celebrimbor introduces the people to like a friend he has met, and that is maybe Sauron then, Anatar. Something like that. But it would not be smart to do it like this, but I don't know. It's terrible. It's a terrible position to write from episode 7, I feel. I would also make the stranger at most like... I would go with the Man in the Moon theory. And the cultists are the, I don't know, moon police, and they want to bring him back. And say to the stranger, "You have to go back to the moon, Mr. Stranger. You are drunk." Something like that. It would also be stupid, I guess, but yeah, it's... What's so bad about Halbrand as Sauron? Like, there are few scenes I don't really see. Like, it seems like Sauron himself is struggling, because we see him struggle in scenes where nobody is around. I would say maybe he's just putting on, like, he's just acting. But when he's alone and nobody's observing him, why would he act? And we have like a scene, let me just see if I find that really quick. Spoiler, I have not found it very quick. Here it is. Where's my OBS? There it is. This particular scene, like, I mean, there's a soldier behind him, I know, but if we just go back a moment, the soldier is gone. See, he's basically alone, sitting there alone. And why would he be thinking like that if he's Sauron? Very strange. he also acted, he also saved Galadriel, and how did he get on the stupid raft? Like, it makes also no sense. If he's Sauron, he has a perfect excuse to go to Mordor to forge the One Ring. He can say, yeah, I'm Halbrand, the king of the Southlands. I have to see for my people. I will come back later or something like this. And then he can go to Mordor, forge the One Ring, and nobody would be suspicious. Except for Galadriel, because she knows he's Sauron by then. But that would be my prediction here. This is Morgoth's version of the story. I mean, it's kind of Sauron's style to deceive people and they don't see what's coming. So yeah. I'm not sure if they are really in love though. I'm not sure about that. Could be. I don't think so. I just think they are what you call it soulmates or something like that. And even that is strange to say when he's actually Sauron. But what is interesting is in this context that yeah, I don't know, it would maybe kind of break Galadriel to a point or let her realize that even when the evil is right next to her, she's hunting for her whole life, she doesn't see it. It's kind of a strong motive there, but I don't know. Like to make this wake up story, they could have maybe told us differently. I mean, Galadriel in the show is foolish. That you have to keep in mind. But you have to also keep in mind that even Galadriel could not see through the like in the books. She could not see through his disguise. Nobody could. But yeah, it's It's strange. I hope they don't go for romance paths even. Oh, and don't start something like that in episode 8. That would be absolutely terrible. I also don't see her betraying Celeborn even if he's dead. I agree on that. Yeah, she never trusted him, but she did not know that Anatar is Sauron. Like, she could not see through his disguise. She just knew something is wrong with this guy, same as Gil-galad and Elrond, as described in the Silmarillion, but she did not know that all of them did not see through his disguise that he is in true Sauron. So his disguise was pretty potent, you have to say. Like, he disguised well. Yeah, one elf human romance for the show is plenty. It would be stupid to add another one. I mean, except he's Sauron, then he's not a human. But a romance with Sauron would also make no sense. Yeah, maybe it's more likely to predict correctly if you make a list of what you don't want to happen. Yeah, I agree on that. If Celeborn is missing since the first age, Celebrian can't be born yet. Which is also strange. It would be so strange. I don't know where they are going. Like, don't they have any feeling for time in this show? Like, you would say, if Elrond is around already, shouldn't Celebrian at least be born? I'm not sure if there will be a big time jump. It depends on where they end, in my opinion. If they hint at him forging the rings in episode 8, or giving the Celebrimbor the idea of forging rings of power, then I would say no, there won't be a big time skip, because they have to show how the rings of power are forged. It would be criminal to not show it. I think the series plays 1,000 years into the Second Age. Only the Numenor stuff is completely messed up. Everything else seems to be before Barad-dûr was even started to being built. Which, in Barad-dûr was, I think Sauron started building it in the year 1200 or so. I can look it up if people are interested in the exact date, because I don't remember the exact date. Could also be 1,000. No, 1,000, not 1,200. In the year round about 1,000, Sauron starts making Barad-dûr. And as we have seen in Mordor, that Barad-dûr wasn't even started yet. And Sauron, it was not transformed yet. And Sauron wasn't even there yet. So, or he was there but did nothing. Servus, good evening. Welcome, Killswitch. What are we discussing at the moment? I know. Films and It was said that Firefly never got a second season, and that Halbrand might be Sauron. And that is my theory. But yeah, I'm really curious what they will do next. I can't believe that last episode will air on Friday already. It's kind of time passed really fast. Yeah, I think the Forge will be ready next episode. I think so too. And then, conveniently, a young man from the Southland with Galadriel wounded comes there as well, and maybe Celebrimbor learns to like him. And he has some strange ideas that he suggests to Celebrimbor to do. And maybe they have to do with rings. That's my expectation. No, I think next season will be the forging of the rings of my prediction for season 2 is that in season 2 we will see the forging of the rings of power, and then the war of elves and Sauron. Like Sauron comes and wants the rings of power back. That's season 2. And season 3 will be potentially what he's doing with those rings. Then maybe we see the creation of the Nazgul or something. Maybe Numenor expanding further and so on, because at the end of episode of season 2 we will see Numenor coming for help and then destroying the elves, Sauron in the last battle. And yeah, then episode 4 might be the end of the Numenorian arc, and then the last season might be leading to the War of the Last Alliance. That would be my prediction for how the show is structured. Considering that everything of Rings of Power plays in the Second Age, and they don't leave the Second Age here. I don't know. I think he will stay, really hard to say, but I think he will stay in this body. I think Galadriel will know that he's Sauron, and nobody will believe her. And then Galadriel leaves and goes somewhere else, maybe to Lothlorien or so. Maybe Elrond believes her or something like that, and maybe Gil-galad as well. But Celebrimbor won't believe her. And that's all that matters. I think they will skip Anatar in this regard. He will be Anatar. It could be that he dies of old age before it's completed. It's really hard to tell. I don't know. It's a good question. If they go with classic Galadriel, they would. She she can't be stay the main character of the show. What could be Galadriel's next move? That makes sense. I mean, nobody will believe her. She will struggle, but then when Sauron attacks, she will also fight. Maybe I assume they go with a fighting Galadriel instead of a fleeing Galadriel if Sauron attacks in season 2 or so. I mean, a lot of details don't make sense, but it's also not completely random. I can't wait for Galadriel Sauron sword fight. That would be interesting to see. That's a good question. What future do you see for Arondir? I have no idea, to be honest. Like, if they go to Pelargir, maybe their plotline is then connected to that of Numenor in some weird way. Maybe they go for, I don't know, the foundation of Dol Amroth or something like that later. Really hard to tell. Yeah, it's possible that it is still the time where Sauron is somewhat struggling what to do next. They could definitely go for that as well. The Half-Foot future. I assume the Half-Foots, if they go with the prologue of the Lord of the Rings, they have to settle somewhere and get in contact with the dwarves. At some point. But maybe only later. It's really hard to tell when. But yeah, I feel like the Harfoots have to start to be dwellers and not nomads anymore. Question is where? But yeah, starting to getting late here. Which slowly ends the stream. Streamed longer than I anticipated, to be honest, but well. Yeah, I'm also very curious about that, Pumbaa. Like, why did they put the symbol on the brother of Galadriel? The question is, chat, do you think they will nail it with next episode? That's, in my opinion, the most important question. When chat has seen the preview of next episode, maybe also the final episode trailer, I should make a poll. Sasha writes, Paul, there is. Yeah, exactly. Has anybody clicked the like button so far? There's a final trailer for the last. Like, it also contains like a lot of stuff for the other from old trailers, but there are also some episode 8 scenes in it already. Oh, I forgot. I'm an idiot. I forgot to allow none of them. Wait. We have to end the poll. I have to make it anew. That is. Keep in mind what you voted. What have you seen? It's a very it's getting late for. I'm getting tired. What have you seen? Final trailer. What was the other? I'll make the order the same. I think it was first the preview of. Okay, some strange stuff is happening here, which confuses me greatly. Review of episode 8. Final trailer. Both. None. I should be consistent with the capital letters. No, this should be better. Oh, Rosie Gumtree is here. Welcome. We're just making new polls, this time with the correct stuff in it. There's another trailer? Yeah, there was another trailer. It's even on the YouTube channel of Prime Video. Like when you end the episode on Amazon Prime, like when the credits roll, there is a what happens next episode little teaser after it. Not after it, but it's loaded. You find it under extras or something. And then there's a final trailer that was released a couple of days ago as well. But it has episode 8 spoilers in it, so if you don't want to get spoiled, I would recommend not watching it. Can't even show you footage of this stuff because I simply have not recorded it. Oh yeah, don't put any spoilers in chat though if you have seen this stuff. I'm just very curious how people watch this stuff. Joe, I would say how long before Joe asks him how long before episode 2 comes out. Anybody know? Full year. They said they will be busy with season 2, not episode 2. Season 2 a couple of years. So I assume 2024 and not next year. So very unfortunate. I think though they will be at least working on it for a year. I can't imagine they go for 3 years though. Okay, nobody has seen the final trailer yet. That is surprising. Most of you have seen none. The preview, well, not none of them. Okay, I miss both have seen 28%. So 28% have seen the trailer as well, but most have seen only the preview for episode 8. It's interesting. Can't resist spoilers for TV shows, my weakness. I don't mind spoilers, to be honest, so personally. Of course, there are limits to it, but yeah. Death predictions. That's really hard to tell. Let's watch the final trailer. It ends the poll here. I would have assumed that Bronwyn could die. Well, we just talk about the books, Aris Aurelian. There are plenty of topics to cover still. Yeah, Durin the Third might die. That's a good prediction, Spielkalb. I forgot about him. Yeah, I'm just an idiot. Of course, some people saw both already. Yeah, Sadok could also be a candidate for dying, I guess, or Malva or something. I don't think Galadriel dies. I don't think Halbrand dies. Halbrand only dies in the way that he might be Sauron, and then he's not Halbrand anymore. Yeah, Adar could definitely die. I don't think he will die next episode. I'm not even sure if we will see him next episode. Like, if Sauron is Halbrand, then he's busy in Eregion for a moment and won't return to Mordor. It would be funny if there are actually two Halbrands in the show. One is Sauron in disguise and one is the actual Halbrand. Yeah, Tar Palantir also a candidate for dying, that's true. The question is, will Isildur be there? Yeah, that's also a good question. Will Khazad-dûm fall in the Second Age when the Balrog is still already introduced and awake? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't hope so, but the show is kind of unpredictable when it comes to stuff like that. Though I would assume no, it won't be. Yeah, it's also possible that Adar works for Sauron, but if Halbrand is Sauron, maybe not. He had a weird reaction to Adar. I found this really strange. Beric is the horse of Isildur. I'm pretty sure Chris will make it through the last episode. I hope we all will. got to go now. Yeah. See you, Rosie. I will also end the stream because I said I'm kind of tired and I did not meant to stream so long today. I've discussed this episode for 7 hours in the analysis stream, so we had a lot to talk there already. But yeah, it's really interesting to see. So yeah, my predictions: Ranger, maybe Gandalf or one of the Istari. Halbrand is Sauron. I think the cultists are searching for Sauron, and they think, Waldrick, for example, says in this one episode, the meteor. Did you see it? Have you heard about Sauron, to Theo? So I assume that these cultists also think with the meteor that Sauron might have returned in this form, and maybe they will be surprised that it's not him. I mean, the stranger could also still be Sauron, don't get me wrong, but that would be definitely my prediction here, that the stranger will be found by the cultists and stuff might happen. Sadly, I would love to tell you, but I have no idea yet. I can't even promise that there will be a round table because currently getting people is becoming more and more difficult. So we will, I'm still organizing, so I can't tell you who will be on the roundtable on Thursday. I hope I will get a good panel together, though. The Stranger's half Sauron. I mean, the Sauron split into multiple beings could also still be, but I don't know. There's a time police, the cultists, and they traveled back in time 2,000 years and said, "No, man, you're too early." Maybe 3,000 years they have to travel back in time. And yeah, burning the Harfoot cast was also not on purpose. She had to sneeze, and this is the way she was sneezing. It was just an accident. Have you seen that old man here? Durin's children? Yeah, I think. What we have heard the names at one point. I forgot though what they are. I want your. I like that one. I want your rope, your staff, and your sandals. Oh man, good old Terminator reference. That would be really funny though. I mean, Stranger being Sauron is also still a possibility. I don't really see it with a Stranger. He's too nice and too clumsy to be Sauron. The good thing is I don't have to make a trailer analysis for this. Would be too spoiler heavy, I feel. And we'll see it next week anyway. But okay, chat. I would say I just kick off the credits. People might be still missing there, but won't be the last stream, I guess. I'm very curious who the Stranger turns out to be at the end. I wouldn't be the hugest fan of if he's Gandalf. I mean, it could work, but as said, the Easterly and Gandalf is not a topic of the Second Age for me. No, I think last time... I'm not sure, maybe I forgot somebody? Should be somewhat up to date, to be honest, but I'm not sure. If not, we rendered it now, but... Oh, need to switch the scene here. Yeah, we see us next stream, people. Yeah, the Balrog is also a theme for the Third Age. I agree on that. No idea why this stuff is even in the show. But yeah, I wish you all a good night and fantastic rest of the day wherever you are. Hope you enjoyed the stream. If you watch this as a VOD or even as a person here live in the stream, maybe give this stream a like and maybe later add a comment to it or something. If you are not subscribed yet, that is of course terrible. You have to subscribe then at some point, I feel. Especially if you're still listening for such a long time to my stupid rambling here. But yeah, glad you people enjoyed the stream. I would say, is there anything left to say? Yeah, there will be more content. I might stream on Twitch or so in the meantime. I don't know. I tried to get my roundtable together for Thursday, and then Friday will be again a review. Maybe if I have the time, I might do like a prediction video, something like that on this channel before episode 8 comes out. I'm not sure yet if I will do though, if I find the time. But yeah. I wish you gute Nacht. Yeah, thank you. Also, sleep well. And thank you for watching. See you people next time. Goodbye.